You must first believe that he is. If you don't believe that he is, then there's no reason to talk about Jesus and salvation. You have to first believe that he is. And once you believe that God is, before the day was, I am he, that one that was before the day was, that one that when the Spirit of the Lord moved upon the waters of the deep and he said, let there be light. When you believe in him, then he said he's a rewarder to you that believe. And so today, if you haven't made the decision to choose God, if you're walking with 1 foot in and 1 foot out, see, God don't want you walking with 1 foot in, 1 foot out. He said, Paul said, I've espoused you to one husband. He's espoused you to one husband. Guess who that husband is? That husband is God. And so when we walking with 1 foot out, guess who we over there cheating with? We cheating with Satan. We say light and darkness can't have fellowship together. He said, anyone that walking with that light and darkness, he said, it's a lie. You are not his. So when you say, oh, well, I'm not perfect, then what does that mean? What does that mean? I'm not perfect. What does that mean? Well, I go over there I'll go over there with Satan sometimes. That's what it means. I go over there and cheat sometimes. I go over there and get in Satan's DM sometimes. I go over there and spend the night with him sometimes. But God said, no, he would rather let you go to Satan. He said, I'm a jealous God. Matter of fact, he said, my name is jealous. And so if that's what you're doing, God said, it's a lie. You don't belong to him. He said, that's how we manifest who belongs to who. 1 John 1 and 3, 1 John 3 and 6, 7, up in that area. He said, he that is born of God does not commit sin. Oh, well, how you going to do that? Well, you know how you're going to do that? You're going to have faith to believe that God can keep you. Jude 1 and 24, he said, I am able to keep you from falling and present you faultless. Do you believe that? Can you believe that? If you can believe that, then it will come alive in you. But if you don't believe it, it's not mixed with faith. It's never going to profit you. You say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthen you. And if you can do all things, if Christ strengthens you to do all things, that means he's able to keep you from falling. He said, I know how to deliver the godly from temptation. That's 2 Peter 2 and 9. I know how to deliver you from temptation. Do you believe that? You got to believe that. If you don't believe that, again, Hebrews 4 and 2, you ain't mixed it with faith. You get it in unbelief. It's not going to profit you anything. God is able to keep you. We can do all things, including keep us from falling. He said, listen, let me give you this tidbit because most people don't even want to hear this. Be ye perfect as your Father is perfect. Matthew 5:48. Oh, how can we do that? No, you can't do that. But the God in you can do that. See, you got to mix that word with faith. It takes the faith to make you transform. You can't transform you. But when you put that word to the test, see, the first miracle of the believer is to believe himself. When you believe God, see, he can make you the peculiar people because people walk around sinning every day, sinning and repenting every day, sinning. They ain't peculiar. That's just the regular. That's the world. But God got some vessels of honor out there. He's got some people that he can make holy. He's got some people that can walk line upon line, precept upon precept, and trust in him. He's got some people that when he say faith without works is dead, he got some people that so when he say faith without works, you're going to produce the works of him. He said, as the body without the spirit is dead. See, when the body without the spirit is cold and stiff, it ain't breathing. But with the spirit in the body, it's going to breathe. It's going to be warm. It's going to blink. It's going to have reflux. The same thing with your faith. When you have Jesus in you, you're going to produce Jesus. Jesus ain't never producing Satan. Jesus says never going to produce Satan. Summer, spring, fall, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, if you got Jesus, you're going to produce Jesus. Jesus, he's just like the body going to produce breathing and things. There's certain things as a Christian you're going to produce. Not that your work save you, but if you have Christ, you're going to produce Christ. A lemon tree ain't going to never produce apples. An orange tree ain't going to produce thorns. It's going to produce the root that is on. And if we walk in faith, the faith changes. See, we look for miracles outside of us. We fix the car, Lord. I need this, Lord. I need this bill paid. But do you look for a miracle in transforming yourself? Do you look for God to make that transformation in yourself? See, if you look for God to transform you and say, God, you say your word say you have perfected me and sanctified me forevermore. That's what your word say. God, you say that I am made and you created me in your image, that I'm partaker of your divine nature. God, you say I'm seated in heavenly places with you. God, you say I'm translated in your kingdom. God said, you say you give me the power to become the sons of God. If you say all that, God, I'll believe it, God. And let me tell you, God will work that in you. But as long as you're saying, oh, I ain't perfect. Oh, I'm this. Oh, he said, as a man thinketh, so is he. That's what the words say. As he thinketh, so is he. And you never going to become it. But when you walk in faith, see, the faith is the transformer. The faith is what makes the things happen. The faith is what makes the impossible happen, including the impossible in you. Including that. How was Jesus able to live sinless in this world? How was he able to do it? Well, he was of God nature. He had divine nature. Okay, guess what? You have his nature too. You put him on. He said you're a partaker of it. But you got to believe it. See, the world don't want you to believe it. They want to keep you going the same way. Well, what was the point of Jesus coming to die? If we were gonna keep offset, now we ain't gotta sacrifice sheep and goats and all this. All we gotta do is come back and say, well, I'm sorry, Lord. I'm sorry. Well, Jesus might as well not come die. He might as well just let you keep growing some cows and pigs and not pigs, cows and goats and sheep, and let you sacrifice those if you're going to keep doing the same thing that Israel was doing. But Jesus said, I come to break the yoke of sin. That's what I was manifested, to destroy the works of the devil. That's what he came to do, to destroy the works of the devil. And he said, do not be entangled with the yoke of bondage again. He said, don't use the liberty. If I've set you free, and who the Son set free is free indeed. It's free indeed. You're not shackled to sin anymore. Oh, but you know who you got to deal with now? Yourself. You got to deal with you. He said, if any man desire to come after me, let him pick up his cross daily and follow me. See, because now you've helped you on the way to sin. He didn't say you got to deal with Satan. Deny Satan. He said, deny yourself. The same self that Eve had before she sinned. Before she sinned, Eve was looking and she saw that the fruit was beautiful. It was good for food. She saw that it was pleasing to the eyes. Listen, you know, Eve ain't nothing. Eve ain't no joke. Cause see, Eve went with the okie doke. Because listen, sometimes things that look good, Lord have mercy, they are not good for you. And that's what Eve began to see. She began to see it was pleasant. See, that was self. She hadn't even sinned yet. That's self, man. That's self, that flesh man. That flesh man that has to decrease as Christ increase in us. But if any man desire to follow after Jesus, let him deny self, not Satan. Because see, once he saved you, you've gotten rid of Satan, that old flesh nature. But now you got to deal with that self, the person who was there before they fell. The thing that made them fall to begin with, self. But you got to put that self to death. You got to crucify it. You got to deny it. You got to deny it interest into you. You got to deny it. When it want to raise up, he said, the flesh warreth against the spirit. And the spirit warreth against the flesh. They lust against each other. But you got to die to this flesh. Ain't nobody talking about dying to the flesh. Everybody just say, keep going, repenting and forget, asking God. He's an advocate, all this. Listen, God calling some people for holiness. He calling some people for righteousness. He calling some people that's going to stand for him. That's going to be the chosen generation, the peculiar people, the royal priesthood. Because let me just tell you this. Do you do that to your husband? Do they preach that? Do they say, oh, go on out there and cheat, just come back and say you're sorry? Because that's what you're doing to God, because you don't see him. It's no big deal to go and just have an affair with Satan and then rush back to the Lord and say, oh, God, forgive me for my sin. And you're going back out the next day. No, if you have that kind of respect for your husband or wife, that you don't do that. God, they didn't die for you. God made us. He made us for his glory, not to be broken down, falling down, wretched. He saved us. That's what he cleaned you up for, to transform you into his image, to make you like him. But we got to believe God. We got to believe it. We got to believe it. We got to believe it like our life depends on it. We got to stand on it, because that's what changes us. That's what changes us, y'all. People ain't preaching this. They preach about prosperity. Look at the world is in darkness and the people's hearts in gross darkness. And most of them is in the church. Most of them in the church, y'all. The sinners don't even want it. because it's a form of godliness, and they denying the power of what Jesus can do, his power of transformation. That same power that raised up Jesus out of the grave is the same power that this believer should have in them, that is able to keep them, that is able to transform them, that is able to renew them, that's able to lift them up with the same power. But we deny that power. Oh, we can't do that. When I tell people, well, can you be like Christ? Oh, no, we can't be that. Well, why